Can you talk to me about Nottingham Forest quickly, Kieran? Because Nottingham Forest got promoted with some very, very good loan players. They had Jed Spence in from Middlesbrough, James Garner from Manchester United, Philip Zinkernagel from Watford, Keenan Davis from, Aston Villa, and Max Lowe from Sheffield United. Can you just talk to me about the pros and cons of this system? Because we saw in the 18-19 this great playoff final where whoever lost out of Aston Villa and Darby were going to go south, basically. And Darby had Mount, Tamori and Wilson on loan, and Villa had Abraham, Mings and Tuan Zabi on loan. Obviously, in the short term, it seems very sensible. You can't afford to buy these players, so you borrow them. But it's like the whole renting a house as opposed to buying a house thing. But then once you get promoted, surely all those players' values have increased and the amount you would then have to spend relatively has increased to replace them. So, yes, huge round of applause for Forest and Steve Cooper. But what do you do now? Talk to me about the benefits for and against.
Well, let's take a look at stakeholders. But there's three stakeholders here. There's the club, there's the parent club. They are seeing their player get development in the senior game. So
Jed Spence, that's Middlesbrough, yeah?
Yeah. And, you think about the likes of Tammy Abraham, who went out on loan on a regular basis to Maury Mount. I'm old enough to remember David Beckham going out on loan to Preston. He made his debut at the Goldstone Ground and so on. So there's that as an issue. There's the acquiring club. They are getting a better class of player at a lower price because you pay a loan fee. You save money. You don't end up spending £8-10 million on a turkey. And if the loan player is not very good, I'm mentioning no names, Aaron Connolly, then at least you can return them after 6 months. We've got some players at Brighton that have been are in about to start year 5 of a 5-year contract. We've not seen them for the last 2 seasons.
Matt Clark, yes,
yeah. Well, at least Matt Clark, to be fair to Matt Clark, he's covered his own face because his wages are being paid by the Championship club, and he's been player of the season at Derby, player of the season at West Brom. Good player. Yeah. I just don't think his style of play is necessarily in a line with what Graham Potter's looking for. No. So I think that one will be fine. But from the acquiring club's point of view, it means you've got a short-term financial commitment of 1 year. You're paying a loan fee. You don't commit yourself to millions of pounds for a player that might not turn out to be okay. And if he does turn out to be good, you get promoted, and then you get the additional money. And then you've got the player themselves. Well, the players want to play at as high a level as possible. They get a chance to develop. They get the opportunity to train with the first team, and so on. All of those things are positive. So Huddersfield were promoted in 2017, same year as Brighton. Aaron Moy was superb. They had Casey Palmer. They had Izzy Brown. All of whom had superb seasons. So I think utilisation of the loan market is beneficial for all the parties involved.
So vaguely,
and once you get up, if you do get promoted, you all of a sudden you've got a big sandpit to play with because you've got £100 million in your bank account.
Indeed. The deal that kind of irked lots of Championship fans was Harry Wilson last season because it was this kind of Championship guaranteed player, and look, we never quite know exactly what these deals. I haven't seen the deal memorandum, put it that way, but the idea was that Fulham weren't actually going to pay anything in the first year, and you'll tell me about amortization and value on balance sheet, etc. But were other Championship fans reasonably wound up by the fact that Fulham had got this really good player that turned out to be the Robin to Mitrovic's Batman without having to pay up front, and now they're promoted?
It was good negotiation.
It was.
And it's the same as spotting a player that everybody else has been looking at, but you've taken a punt on them. My view is fair play to the club. there were 4 or 5 clubs that could have done the same deal, and it just so happened that Fulham were prepared to come up with the readies. I don't have an issue